always, even in the last episode, and again, we're going to spoil some shit here, so if you haven't watched the last episode, watch it tonight and then download us on iTunes tomorrow. But even the last episode, he saved Jesse's life. Then gave Jesse the chance. Then gave Jesse the chance to kill him, to make Jesse happy, which really ultimately probably making Walter happy.
Exactly. Again, it's all about the writing, and I actually watched. I did a little cheating. I watched Talking Bad after, which I loved. Hosted by.
We're working on Harvick. Yeah, we're working on coming on.
That'd be awesome. But they were talking about how. Well, Jesse was talking about how much he wanted to actually kill himself as an actor. He wanted that faction. He wanted him to write that out. But then what he said was, when he received the script, he actually said, you know what, it makes more sense that I don't, because the satisfaction was enough that he gave me the opportunity to do it. And he knew that he was already going to die. And
you're right. You're right, Larry. And if you look at the way the scene was shot, Jesse Pinkman looks down and sees the blood on Walter White, and then says, "Then do it yourself."
And there's the editing. Right. So.
Yep.
Great stuff.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant
absolutely.
all the way around. And I mean, one question you got. Bryan Cranston obviously has the world in front of him. He's going to continue to do great roles because he's a phenomenal actor. Aaron Paul, I don't know I'm certain that he's going to get great roles, but is he typecasted forever?
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think Bryan Cranston can do anything. He's extremely versatile. He can play any type of role. I think he's going to do a lot of major film work now. Aaron Paul, I don't see it as much. I think he'll get another show. He'll probably do another series, but I love the versatility of Bryan Cranston. He's always been a good actor, but this was obviously a role of a lifetime for him. Just like, God rest his soul, James Gandolfini with Tony Soprano, and a lot of these guys. A lot of just to touch on, a lot of major film actors have been going to TV, and rightfully so. Kevin Bacon, a lot of these guys. Because the consensus is, which makes sense to me, is that TV has outshone film for the past 15 years. And it's proven with these shows.
I can jump in on that, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, hey, Larry, I just had somebody actually Facebook me and said, you guys aren't talking enough about Justified. What's your opinion of that show? I watched the first few seasons. I didn't watch last season because I thought the show kind of lost its way.
I agree. I only saw the first couple of episodes, and I actually lost interest because I started watching Sons of Anarchy, and I started really getting into that show. And that's really, I have nothing to add on Justify. I've heard great things, but honestly, after the first couple episodes, I wasn't really into it.
Now, Timothy Olyphant is very charismatic, great actor, but
he's great.
It's got to have, it has to have a good script. And last season, I think I watched the first 3 episodes. I turned around, I looked at my girlfriend Michelle. I said, I can't watch this. I'm bored. Same thing happened to me with True Blood, which I thought the first couple seasons were terrific, and then it turned into this sci-fi BS, and I just quit watching.
It's interesting that you say that, because I felt the same way. I felt season 1 to 3 were great. Season 4 got a little campy. Now, it was always campy. Very campy,
right.
And the writing was bizarre, but it worked for that show because they're vampires. I mean, come on.
Right.
And that was hot at the time, and it still is, and even with Walking Dead, with all these zombies. But to get back to that show, I stopped watching.
I'm not into the zombie shit.
And neither am I. But then I gave it a second chance, and I went back to Netflix, on demand, and watched it. And I just finished season 6. Season 6 was pretty good. So, they could have an off season and then come back with a great season, which I think they did with season 6.
Are you talking about True Blood?
I'm talking about True Blood, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and it's going to be gone, right, following next season?
There's one more season, season 7, and then it ends.
I just like the idea in the first few seasons of the vampires coming back, having to fit into society, actually dealt with some serious issues, and then you're right, it got so campy and sci-fi and just silly, and people, to the point where I told my girlfriend, I said, can anybody die on this show? If there are no consequences for actions, what's the point?
Right. Right, and that still even happens in season 6, and they finally say in season 7, they give some teasers about people are actually there's going to be finality to it, but I don't know how you can have finality with a bunch of vampires and fairies running around. I don't know.
And Game of Thrones is very popular. I haven't gotten into that. Amazing
show. Amazing. Yeah, that's an astounding show. Boardwalk Empire is unbelievably good.
It is. The series is off to a good start this year.
It's a great show. Like another show that nobody even talks about, which blows my mind too, and I love it because of Miami. My history with Miami. Magic City is outstanding.
Yes. Thank you, Larry. Love that show. It just got canceled. My girlfriend and I were huge fans. Yes, it's canceled. It's not coming back.
I know. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's a slickly produced show. The most beautiful women you can imagine are on that show, too.
Out of control, gorgeous women on that show, yeah.
I love the style. I love the music. Heck, I even had the theme as my ringtone. That's how geeky I got about the show.
So did I.
Nick, have you seen Magic City?
I've not, and I'm taking notes on all of this because I'm looking forward to what my next binge series will be.
Well, Magic City's done. It's done. So, Larry, it's done after 2 seasons, which is a real shame. I think it was a very expensive show to do. That could have had something to do with it.
In fact, the hotel that he owned, that was, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was the most expensive set ever created in the city of Miami. I think it was, because they created everything from scratch. They basically built a hotel for the show, and that's the same thing what happened with Rome on HBO, which was another brilliant show, but the budget was so big they just couldn't handle it.
Yeah, it was a good show. I watched a few episodes of that. But when I pass away, I'm coming back as Ike Evans, Larry.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome.
Yeah, pretty smooth. Love the style of the show. Everything from the Ray-Bans to the slick suits to the cars to the women. Yeah. Nick, you've got to watch this show, man. It is all about style, but great substance too.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the comedian from The Watchmen. He's great.
Yeah, no, it's terrific, and I was just disappointed that it didn't come back. Now, Mad Men I'm a huge fan of. Like Nick, I didn't watch Mad Men for a while.
Another great show.
One day, I just sat down and watched episode after episode on one wintry day and watched the first season, and I was hooked. It is a great show, and what I like about it, to me, there are really no good guys on the show.
Nope. And isn't that beautiful? It's just another show that's written impeccably well. The casting is ridiculous. John Hamm is the lead. I mean, it's great. And in fact, that's my number 5 show of all time. So
really, Mad Men.
Oh yeah, it's. I think it's that good. And number 4 is Dexter, if we're wondering here. But
Dexter,
just another unbelievably written show and acted show. But yeah, Mad Men it's a very addicting show to watch. You don't want to ever stop watching it.
And once again, I'll say it, beautiful women are on that show too. Not that that's the reason to watch it, but the sense of style, the clothing. I just love the guys walking around with the cigarettes in their hand and a drink in another, and pinching girls. It's a very much a throwback to the old days and the way that we used to live. And it's
kind of like this show, Ty.
Yeah, very much. Well, yeah. Very much. Well, I tried to, just so you know, Larry, my idea when I first came up with doing the show, and Nick and I talked about it, was I thought of laughing immediately. Granted, maybe we think we're too funny and others don't, but that's what I thought of. When we first started doing this, just guys getting together, BSing, and expecting the unexpected. I mean, we talked about everything tonight from Larry Bird to Merv Griffin.
Yeah, we did.
That's brilliant. See, that's great stuff.
To William Shatner. Don't forget William Shatner.
And we all know how you feel about Shatner, but who is great, by the way.
Oh, I mean, come on. I won't go on about Shatner again. We already devoted 15 minutes
Larry,
to Shatner.
Larry, did you hear the discussion with Zmed at all?
I did not, because I was watching the Dolphins game.
Of course. But it was funny.
The third quarter just started. Go ahead.
Oh, well, then we got to hurry this up then. Where are we at on the list, Nick? I've lost count.
The list is over. So, Larry, why don't you go back to football, but we're going to have you on again because My man, you know TV, you know movies, and you know a lot of celebrities. I'm counting on Gus, so I'm hoping that could happen.
I talked to my buddy the other night, and we're hoping that works out too.
That's amazing. Thank you, Lorenzo Lowe. Are you on Twitter?
You know what?
How are you not on Twitter?
It's the only social networking site. I actually was on it twice and got rid of it twice because it annoyed me so much. I don't know.
Well, you have to turn the notifications off. You have to turn the notifications off. But for what you do and who you know and your persona, you need to be on Twitter. I'm one of those guys too that I've been a member since 2006 when I launched CLNS Radio or the child or the parent of CLNS Radio, and I just use it solely to promote my own work and the work of my writers and show hosts. And this past year, I've taken a real conscious effort to get into tweeting, and it's been very beneficial in communicating and getting your name out there. So we got to get you on there, Lorenzo.
I'll get back on it.
All right, my man. Go enjoy the game. The only time you'll ever hear me say "Go Miami," it'll be the only time you ever hear me say it.
Well, thanks. That means a lot. I'll see you in the NBA season when Bron and the boys come back.
Oh, here we go.
Man,
take your Harlem Shake out of here.
Lorenzo, you got to get your show on here, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Great stuff.
Oh, that was fun, Nick. Magic City. Seriously, man. I got two for you. Magic City and The Wire. You won't regret it.
I'm thinking The Newsroom.
And that's great, too. I mean, there's just not enough hours in the day. There just aren't enough hours in the day for TV watching. Newsroom is great as well. I really enjoy that program. So we were, Nick, we're at number 3, right?
We're at number 3, and I wanted to let Larry go because he gave us his top 3 in one sentence, which was great, by the way.
Yeah.
But now I wanted to get him back to his football game. So, my number 3, did I say, is Sopranos. So right. You're on your number 3.
My number 3, Nick, is one of my all-time favorite shows, although it's known for jumping the shark, and it really did in the 80s. I'm talking, of course, about Happy Days, where it just got downright silly at times. But the first few seasons of Happy Days are some of the best you'll ever see on television. It was basically an extension of American Graffiti with a young Ron Howard, Henry Winkler, Tom Bosley as Mr. C, just great television, wholesome television, but yet it was edgy enough as an adult that you could like it. I say this all the time. In the first few seasons, there's episodes where Richie drinks too much at a bachelor party. Fonzie's teaching Richie how to take off her bra.
I mean, back then, that was scandalous.
Back then, this is pretty racy stuff. But
I don't remember that finale.
Well, the great thing about the finale, it had Joni, it had Chachi, it had the whole gang there, is that they turned to
Laverne and Shirley?
Yeah, I don't remember them. I don't remember them being there, but it was just this huge extension of the show where they had like all the characters, and basically Tom Bosley turns to the camera and thanks the audience for being part of the family for so many years. And it was extremely touching and just a warm episode, and it was a great way to send off the show. It was on forever, Nick.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, I remember watching it. It was on forever. I don't want to take away from your number 3, but were Laverne and Shirley lesbians?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that Laverne... Well, first of all, Penny Marshall was married to Rob Reiner, remember?
Well, Penny Marshall is a lesbian, isn't she?
Oh, she was married to Rob Reiner.
I know she was.
I don't know. And as far as Cindy Williams, I don't know about that. I never got that gist, because remember they had Carmen...
I don't mean are they lesbians, but on the show, I think they were closet lesbians.
I don't think so, because didn't Cindy Williams surely have the hots for Carmine?
Yeah, but they were closet. He was weird. They might have fooled around, but they didn't have sex. Like, they didn't have real sex. I mean, I think they were lesbians.
Wow.
You heard it first. You heard it first here on BCD.
When I was 10, 11 years old, that thought never entered my mind.
I think they were lesbians trying to hide it. I mean, come on. They were how old living together? By the end of that show, they had
their 20s for crying out. They were roommates.
By the end of that show, I mean, it was. I don't know. I got that. Well, we're Bert and Ernie gay?
I think without question. Didn't they share a tub